be able to keep me updated at some point. Who knows how to get hold of me. It's always good to those people who are listening at home. If I get a chance, I'll try and pay attention to the messages. So replay comes back for this sort of like to take the race lead, so George Halliday leads the way as we go round Oval Corner for the first time of 5, and George Halliday there in 5th position. Adam Jameson trying to find his way through, and is James third. In the power bike race, absolutely phenomenal. I think they got down to 155s in absolutely biblical conditions. So they've already opened up about a 1.5 gap as they disappear out of my sight up towards Island Bend and round the back. Going to wait for them to come popping over the hill. I think we're going to hopefully see some good little elbow-to-elbow stuff coming down the hill between these two. And George Halliday certainly got some elbows on him because it's one of the few people I think Max Hardy has to actually look up to, basically. I think is the best way to describe the frame of George. Right, here they come down the hill, and that looks like Ted Wilkinson giving it the doctor's dangle, and he's got quite a healthy lead already. He's worked out his braking marker beautifully. They come through his, that is Wilkinson. That's from Halliday. 3rd place, a very strong 3rd place. Oh, can't quite make that out. I've got the bike mixed up. I just saw the number and realised it's not the bike. I thought it was not Jameson. You can see Creasy's a long way back there.
Could well be James Fern, very similarly.
Yeah, that's where it gets confusing. I think you might be right, James Fern, the man who is actually 2nd in the championship as we arrive here at the moment. That could well be the way of the championship this year. Jameson, Fern, Logan Stone, and we've got the battle of the Kilworths as well, and Jordan Kilworth has been coming on very strong indeed lately, hasn't he? He's beating brother Hayden, the former race winner, and he'll be looking for his first top step of the podium before the season end, I think, Bradley.
Certainly will be, as the leading two come across the line. It is Wilkinson from Halliday. Rob Saltmer's made up 4 positions on that lap heap, so Rob Saltmer is the man who leads the way in the Thunderbike Sports at the moment. He's 3rd overall. James Fern, it was James Fern who's right up there in contention as well. Michael Bampton, Josh Harvey, Toby Finnis has made up 5 positions. Adam Jameson stays where he is. Ben Brown makes up 5 positions. Jordan Kilworth drops 1. Looks like the biggest mover on that one, however, is the number 38 machine, and that's David Luff in the twin. So he's made up 8 positions to put himself ahead of Terry Smith and Hayden Kilworth.
Rob Saltmer, a man who's hoping to go to Scarborough, where you'll be next weekend, Bradley. Be interested to see if he can make it up there. Certainly if he can land on the top step of the podium here, that'd be a huge confidence boost. He's a returnee to racing after a few years off, and he's clearly not too rusty, as if he can lead the Thunderbike Sport, you've got some class riders in competition there. Right, just waiting for the leaders to come bouncing over the top once again. Let's see if Halliday can get that a little bit closer to Wilkinson, and the answer is not even. I'm afraid Ted has definitely found a little bit of a shortcut somewhere there. He's opening up that gap with every lap into 3rd place now. That's that is a change. A change from the last time they came past me. I'll pick that up here. Nope, can't quite read the number on that, unfortunately. As they go through, if we can see your number, we can tell the world who you are. But at the moment, I can't quite see. Who was 3rd past you, mate?
3rd past me was Rob Saltmer.
Yeah, it could have been Saltmer, to be fair. I'm just checking what number.
Looks like he's gone a little bit quicker than James Fern in the first lane.
Yeah, I think James was ahead of him there.
Still behind him, sorry. We've got Ted Wilkinson and George Halliday through Lodge and over Dearsley, now underneath the bridge, and bursting back into our view here across the line to complete lap number 2. 1 minute 54.7 key for Ted Wilkinson, and 55.3 for George Halliday. Here comes the battle of the Thunderbike Sport. That is Rob Saltmer still leading from James Fern, but the gap between them is only 0.3 of a second. Through goes Michael Bampton, Toby Finnis, Adam Jameson up next, who has Ben Brown and Josh Harvey right there in his wheel tracks. Behind them, that is Jordan Kilworth, who rounds out the top 10. Morgan Creasy on that GSXR 600 in 11th position overall, 6th in class. And it's David Luff, who made up 8 positions on lap 1. He's made up another 2 on this lap. So a good race so far for David Luff.
That battle between Saltmer and Fern, they're side by side going up towards Ireland, and again disappear out of my sight. We don't know what the status really is of Michael Bampton, do we? Do you know anything at all about the Denby based rider at all? We don't know if he's just here for the day or if he's doing the season.
He certainly wasn't with us at Brands Hatch, and he certainly seems very quick. I'm wondering, do you think he's another Rhodes rider who's here to get a signature? Any ideas at all, mate?
Could well be, as you said, not with us at Brands, but he was with us yesterday and today as well. He's running strong in 5th position at the moment, third of the twins, a name that I recognise from Oliver's Mount, so it could well be.
There we go, probably another one of that. So probably not a championship contender as far as the overall world goes. Right, Salma.
Sorry, we've got a retirement at Shell. Looks like a Melvin May is retiring from this one.
Shame. Right, Salma from Fern now as they come past me. There's Bampton in their wheel tracks as well, in a different class, of course. Behind them, I look like trying to work out the bikes. Still getting used to the colours, because the lack of screen here does make life a little bit difficult, doesn't it? Particularly this early in the season, of course. A little bit later in the season, we'll be a bit more used to the colours. I think that was Toby Finnis actually on the Triumph 660, and Toby could well be the leading rider as far as the club champions go, actually, mate, because Toby is a serious contender here. He picked up 3 wins and a second at Brands Hatch. Travis Rookle also did well. Travis isn't here this weekend, and Ben Brown, the perpetual runner-up, it seems, in the senior ninjas, he's doing strongly down. He was runner-up in last year's championship, if I remember rightly.
He was, yep. As Morgan Creasy goes up the inside of Josh Harvey, Jordan Kilworth is, let's have a look at Jordan Kilworth's lap times. He did a 2:02.7 on that previous lap, 2 seconds away from where he was previously, so it could well have been a slight mistake on that lap for Jordan Kilworth. Interestingly enough, however, Keith, the gap has closed at the front. George Halliday went 0.4 of a second quicker than Ted Wilkinson. The gap was 2 seconds, it's down to 1.6 as Andy Lovett returns to the pits.
That'll be something to keep an eye on. Now, we do know this is a test session for both these guys, and they got their signatures yesterday, which is all they need, really. But if you're at Alton Park and you've got a bike, you're going to give it your best shot, aren't you? Yeah, I think you're right, actually. I think George might be that little bit closer, slightly more classic style there from George. He's not giving it the doctor's dangle. He is definitely getting his knees out, and he's pushing on hard. Yeah, that gap is closed. Have a look at the first sector times. They're just going up the hill there. I wouldn't be surprised to see Mr. Halliday taking at least half a second off the... Go on, mate, what do you got?
In fact, it was a 22.8 for Wilkinson, 23 flat for Halliday.
Oh, yeah, okay. He is pushing on hard.
That is purple in sector number 1, however, for Ted Wilkinson with that 22.8. So we'll keep an eye on his lap here, because the last lap flag will be going out at the end of this one. They're already in towards Lodge, and we can see that it is Ted Wilkinson who still leads the way from George Halliday. So the 1-2-2 of Ted Wilkinson ahead of number 42, George Halliday. Across the line they go. One more lap in this race for Ted Wilkinson and George Halliday. Lap times coming in 53.7 for Wilkinson, 53.8 for George Halliday. The gap is at 1.7 seconds.
Oh, okay. I'm surprised at that, actually. It looked to me as though George was closing. I think it's probably going to be a little bit too late now.
I think the battle to watch here, Keith, is that one for the lead in the Thunderbike Sports.
Absolutely.
Rob Saltmer put in a 1 minute 57.3, James Fern a 56.4, so he's closed the gap by 0.9 of a second, and it's only 0.1 between them now.
Well, they're coming down the hill into Denton's there. There's about a 4 or 5 bike length gap between them. But I tell you what, Fern has got some decent drive off there. He's closing the gap, closing easy. Couldn't be close enough on Ireland. Not sure if he's going to be able to pull alongside. They disappear out of my sight. Going to have to keep an eye on that one when they come back over the hill, because Mr. Fern is looking definitely very threatening. He's taken to this slightly smaller bike. James, a regular competitor in Thunderbike Ultra, of course, wasn't he, Bradley?
He was, yeah.
This is his first season in sport, isn't it?
His first season on a 600, yeah.
Good. So he's definitely taken to it like a duck to pancakes.
He's still there in second position. I'm just watching him as he goes through Britain, and he's in the wheel tracks, but not quite close enough. It could well be an outbraking manoeuvre.
Well, here it goes. If it's going to come, I have to say Saltman's got the middle of the track covered, so he doesn't leave anywhere for Fern to go. Fern's slightly quicker into the corner because he's got a slightly better line. He pulls up, and so still that 3 or 4 bike length gap as they exit, both using all of the track, and they disappear up once again. Fern is close, but he's going to have a good run through Druids to be able to get onto a challenging position at Lodge. That's obviously the last real challenge that you get down there, is make your way through Druids under the Warwick Bridge, down the straight.
Got them here as Ted Wilkinson comes across the line to take the victory over George Halliday. At the end of the race, it's 3.3 seconds, but all lines up towards Lodge. Looks like Rob Saltmer has that covered, runs a little bit wide on the exit. I think he's got enough in hand there to hold on to the advantage. Here they come with James Fern trying that outside line. Is he going to get it? And it looks as though Saltmer gets it by 0.05 of a second. I think James Fern was watching Ronnie Harris yesterday and tried to do the same thing. But yet Rob Saltmer takes the win in the Thunderbike Sports by 0.051 of a second over James Fern. Michael Bampton next up ahead of Toby Finnis. And then it is Ben Brown, Morgan Creasy, Josh Harvey, Adam Jameson, and the 153 of Jordan Kilworth, who is 6th in class but rounds out the top 11. Next up, that's the number 211 machine of James Leatham. Then it's David Luff ahead of Dixon, Jones, Nick Smith, 7th in class and 16th overall. Looks like Hayden Kilworth dropped a position on that final lap to the number 173 bike of Dan Swift. Next up will be the 131 of Kingston. In fact, that's Kane Farr looking to go the long way round on Kingston here, and he gets it. So Kane Farr, 11th position at the line by 0.1 seconds over number 131 of Nicholas Kingston. So Ransom across the line as well. Next up will be Stuart May, Andy Houghton, and Russell Jackson Oakley. Unfortunately, Malvern May and Andy Lovett and Logan Stone are not seeing the checker flag in this race queue.
Sounds like the Van of Shame's going to have a few customers out there, mate. And obviously, everybody, I think most people at one stage or another have had to find themselves and their bike coming home in one of the rescue vans. So that'll be a short delay then before we get the next race underway, which will be race 1 on your program for the day, of course.